Good morning. This is your math sensei, Mr. Spensei, and we are going to solve equations with variables on both sides. Yesterday, we solved two-step equations where we just had to move a constant and coefficient. Today, we're going to have to move variables, constants, and coefficients in that order. So that's the goal. We're going to use inverse operations, or opposite operations if you prefer. Move variables to one side, then we'll move constants, then we'll eliminate coefficients, and we'll go in that order. So as a review of what we did yesterday, we're going to start off by moving constant. We're going to go ahead and solve two-step equations because here's two-step equations for our warm-up. And the very first thing we need to do is move the constants. In order to do that, we need to identify the constants. Well, my constants happen to be 13 and 27. We also should draw a line through the equal sign because the equation is balanced. 13 plus 7x equals 27. If you imagine a seesaw, we had it'd be perfectly balanced because this side equals that side. Okay, but I need to move the constants, and 13 is a constant, and 27 is a constant. So which one do I move? I always move the one that's on the same side as the equal sign as the variable. So 13 is with the variable, so the goal is to get the variable by itself or isolate the variable. So I need to move the 13. So to move the 13, this is a plus 13. I always do the opposite. When I'm crossing the equal sign, I don't care what I'm moving, whether it's a constant, coefficient, or variable, I'm going to do the opposite. So the opposite of a plus 13 is a minus 13. So I have to subtract 13 from both sides. This goes away, and I end up getting 7x equals 14. All right, now we have a coefficient. This number in front of the variable is the coefficient, and coefficients multiply the variables. That's part of our definitions. We'll look at them in just a second. So the opposite of multiplying is dividing. We just use a little fraction line for division. So this crosses out, and this becomes 14 divided by 7 is 2. My answer is x equals 2. All right, one more. Draw a line through the equal sign. Identify our constants. Our constants are numbers that are not next to a variable. And this one, this 3 is not, so it's a constant, and this 17 is a constant. So I always want to move the constants that is on the same side as the variable. So I'm going to move the minus 3 by doing a plus 3 because we're doing the opposite, the inverse operation. And 3 minus 3 is 0, so this is why that works. So now we have 4p equals 17 plus 3 is 20. So my coefficient is 4, and I need to move it, and that coefficient multiplies the variable. So since it's multiplying, I undo the multiplication by division. This goes away, and I end up with p equaling 5. So my answer is p equals 5. All right, let's review our vocabulary. A variable is a what? Oh, it's a letter that represents an unknown value or number. And I'm just going to write hashtag to shorten that up. A constant is a value that does not change, like 13 and 27, and it's separated by a plus or minus. This 13 is a plus 13. This 17 is a plus 17. Okay? A coefficient is a number that is next to a variable. So this 7 is a coefficient and this 3 is a coefficient, and the coefficient multiplies the variable. Okay. So let's look at these. These are just more two-step problems, so we should be good with this. Solve the problems and answer the questions below. Well, we're going to draw a line through it. First thing I need to do is move constants. So let's identify the constants. Matter of fact, let's identify it for all of them. The constant is a number separated by a plus or minus. So that's the constants on all of them. And we'll go ahead and draw a line through. Okay. So here we go. First step is to move constant. Well, I need to move either the 12 or the 60. Well, I move the one that's further away. I move the one that's on the same side as the variable. So this plus 12, I have to do the opposite of plus 12, which is a minus 12. So this is also a minus 12. Because what you do to one side is you must do to the other side. So now we have 4y equals 48. So over here, the next thing I need to do is divide by 4, because this is 4 times the coefficient is multiplying, and I have to do the opposite of multiplying, which is dividing, and I end up getting y equals 12. And I'm going to write that off to the side and circle it. Okay? All right, on this one, I have two constants. I move the constant, the one that's on the same side as the variable, because the goal is to isolate the variable. We want the variable by itself. So the opposite of plus 12 is minus 12. So I have negative 4y equals 48. Divide by negative 4. Because this was multiplying, we have to do undo multiplication by division. And y equals 48 divided by 4 is 12. And if we go to our triangle, that's a positive 48 and a negative 4. So my answer is a negative 12. And we'll write it off to the side. Y equals negative 12. That didn't look too pretty, but I apologize for my writing. All right, the next one. We've identified our constants, 12 and 60. And we move the one that's on the same side as the variable. So we're going to move the negative 12, but it's always the inverse operation or opposite operation. So plus 12. Oops, plus 12. This goes away. This becomes just 4y. 60 plus 12 is 72. And when I say this goes away, what I really mean is it becomes 0. And we don't need to write 0 because 0 is nothing. So nothing is nothing. Why write down nothing? All right. So 4y equals 72. 4 is my coefficient. It's multiplying y, so I have to undo multiplication by division. And I end up getting y equals 18. I'll write that off to the side as well. So what was the first step we did? You're like, oh, I moved 12. It's like, no, you moved to plus 12, you moved to plus 12, and then you moved to minus 12. So how about this? What are those 12s called? Constants. So the first thing we did was move constants. And the next thing we did was eliminate coefficients. I don't know why, but even at 58 years old, I still have trouble spelling the word coefficient. So here we have two problems that are similar. We have 4y plus 12. That matches. Equals 60, and then here we have a 2y on the side. So what is the difference between problems 1 and 2? The difference between problem 1 and 2 is that problem 2 has a variable on both sides. All right. So that's what we're going to today. We're going to learn how to handle situations like this where we have a variable on both sides. So we're not going to deal with distributed property today. We're not going to be combining like terms. We've already done these things. We've moved constants and gotten rid of coefficients, and we did that in the warm-up. But now we need to move variables to one side of the equal sign. So this is what we're adding today, is moving variables to one side of the equal sign. And anytime you cross the equal sign, you're doing the opposite operation. In this case, for um, in this case, we have a plus or minus, so we're either going to be doing a negative. We're going to either do it if it says add, we're going to subtract. If it says subtract, we're going to add. Yeah, we're going to be rebels and do the opposite. All right. So we have 4y plus 12 equals 60 plus 2y. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. And by the way, for this class, if we have variables on both sides, we're going to put the variables on this side, and I'm going to use hashtag for numbers on this side. So we're going to go variables on this side, numbers on this side. And remember, variable is just a letter. So we always go in this order. We'll start at 1. Do we have parentheses? No. Like terms? No. Do we have variables on both sides? Yes. So I need to move a variable. Well, since I want all my variables on this side, that means I have to move the 2y. And how am I going to move it? Well, I'm going to move and by the way, it's a plus 2y. So the opposite of a plus 2y is minus 2y. This goes away. So 4y minus 2y is 2y plus 12 equals 60. All right. So next thing I need to do is I need to move my constant. So I need to move this plus 12. Well, how am I going to move a plus 12? Well, I have to do the opposite or inverse. So I'm going to do a minus 12. And 60 minus 12 is 48. Now, this says move, and it should say eliminate the 2 by, and this is 2 times. So we're going to have to divide by 2. And we end up getting y equals 24. Because this coefficient, remember, multiplies the y. So we're going to have to separate them, and you separate them by dividing. Really, this says the move, it should say eliminate. The next one, 4y minus 12 equals 60 minus 2y. Well, the very first thing is we go, okay, we can draw our line and cut it in half. Looking at our steps, do we have variables on both sides? Yes, we do. So we start off by moving variables to one side. So I want the variables in this class, I want the variables on the left, and I want the numbers on the right. It'll help you out later on in inequalities. Technically, you can solve it either way, but for my class, I want to do it this way. So we want to move the negative 2y. By how? Well, I have to do the opposite. Remember what the steps say? The steps keep saying, whatever it is, do the opposite. So what's the opposite of a negative 2y? Well, that's just a positive 2y. So these cross out, and 4y plus 2y is 6y minus 12 equals 60. All right. The next thing I need to do is get rid of, it's like, okay, we moved the variables. Next thing is move the constants. Well, which constant? First off, what are my constants? My constants are my 12 and my 60. The ones not next to a letter. All right. Well, I want to move the one that's on the same side as the variable because the goal is to get the variable by itself. So I need to move that minus 12, and I need to move the minus 12. How do I do a move it? I do the opposite. What's the opposite of minus 12? It's plus 12. So now I have 6y equals 72. Well, now I need to eliminate the 6. Well, how am I going to eliminate the 6? Well, this is 6 times y because coefficients multiply. So the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So we're going to divide both sides by 6. We end up getting y equals 12. All right. Once again, it looks like we have variables on both sides. And remember, we're going to go move variables, move constants, get rid of coefficients in that order, or eliminate coefficients. So I always want to put variables for my class. I want variables on the left-hand side, numbers on the right-hand side. So I need to move the 3y. So I need to move a plus 3y. So how am I going to move a plus 3y? Well, the opposite of plus 3y is minus 3y. So I have to remember what we do to one side, we must do to the other side. So this is a minus 3y, so this goes away. So I end up with 3y plus 18 equals 54. So the next thing I need to do is move my constants. Well, my constants have a star above them now. It's the 18 and the 54. And I have to move away from the variable because the goal is to get the variable by itself. So I need to move the plus 18 by minus 18. And I have 3y equals 54 minus 18 is 36. Divide both sides. Oh, now I need to eliminate the 3. And remember, this coefficient of 3 is multiplying. So undo multiplication by division. They've been dividing, I would multiply, but right now it's multiplying because it's side by side. Side by side, I have to separate. So we're going to divide by 3, and we get y equals 12. All right, this concludes that video. Sure hopes it's helped, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Oh, this does not really much look like a division sign, so I'm going to make that adjustment right here. This is a division sign. Divide by 3. All right, thanks for watching.